I'm a 28-year-old woman, and I've been in a relationship with my boyfriend, who's now 30, for almost 8 years. We moved in together about 4 years ago and built a life filled with shared experiences. Vacations, mutual friends, pets, and countless memories. People always assumed marriage was just around the corner for us. From the outside, we looked like the perfect couple. But over the last year, something changed. I became involved with my boss. He's 45. It wasn't premeditated or part of some plan. It just evolved over time. I'm not going to endlessly torment myself over it, but I know it was reckless and irresponsible. It started harmlessly. Just work-related texts after hours, discussing tasks and deadlines. Eventually, his messages became more casual. Jokes, memes, light conversation. He'd keep me at the office longer under the pretense of work, though sometimes he'd just show up to talk, standing there awkwardly before slipping out again. There was an odd thrill to it, something that reminded me of the way new relationships feel. One evening after company dinner, he asked me to go out with him. I said yes without giving it much thought. That was the beginning. He's married. He has 2 kids. He's been with his wife since college. From the outside, their life looks picture perfect, but he confided in me that the spark is long gone. He said they often sleep in separate rooms. I believed him, and honestly, part of me still does. What we have is a contradiction, both the most exhilarating and the most destructive thing I've ever experienced. The way he makes me feel seen, valued, and appreciated. It's addictive. At work, people joke and call me his office wife. I laugh along with them, but deep down it feeds a part of me I didn't realize was starving. I enjoy the attention, the feeling of being wanted, the kind of deep, personal conversations I hadn't had in years. He tells me I'm smart, that he wishes he had met me before his life got so complicated. And even though I know better, I absorb his words like sunlight. Meanwhile, things at home with my boyfriend have become numb. We coexist more than we connect. Eat meals, watch shows, go to work, but the closeness is gone. I still care for him, but what we have doesn't feel like love anymore. It wasn't until I got involved with someone else that I fully realized how far apart we'd grown. Physically, the relationship with my boss is electric. It's as if he instinctively knows what I want. It's rough, intense, and full of urgency. We've hooked up in his office, in hotels, anywhere we could steal a moment. Once, we planned a trip around a music festival but never actually made it to the event. I scheduled it during a tough week for my boyfriend, made sure he couldn't come, and lied saying it was for work. He was clearly upset but didn't press the issue. Recently, though, my boyfriend has started acting differently. He's asking more questions. Where I'm going, who I'm with. There's a tension between us that wasn't there before. Living under the weight of all this has become exhausting, and I'm conflicted. A part of me believes I've fallen for my boss and fantasizes about starting over. But then reality comes crashing back. He's still married. He talks about leaving her, but there's always something. A big project, a family obligation, a school function. So I wait, suspended in this limbo, risking everything while he continues to share a bed with his wife. Sometimes I can't stand myself for wanting it all, for being too afraid or too selfish to let either of them go. Then, just 2 nights ago, everything fell apart. I had gone out for dinner with a few close girlfriends. No secret meetings, no hidden agenda, just a normal night out. When I got home, I saw a flood of missed calls and frantic texts from my best friend. She told me my boyfriend had shown up at her place and left all my belongings outside. He didn't say a word, no knocking, no explanation, just dumped everything. Clothes in garbage bags, my suitcase, and drove away. She'd seen it all from her window and tried calling him, but he ignored her. I called him immediately, no answer. I texted, still nothing. I drove straight to our apartment, but when I arrived, I discovered the locks had been changed. I stood there in disbelief, trying to make sense of what was happening. My best friend let me crash in her spare room. That's where I've been staying ever since. It's small, uncomfortable, and nothing about it feels right. A 2-bedroom apartment where the second room serves as a makeshift office. There's only an old, sagging couch for her to sleep on, and everything about the setup feels uncomfortable and wrong. Deep inside, I know he must have uncovered something I never intended him to find, and I'm livid with myself for being careless enough to leave that door open. On the other end of things, my boss has been nothing but kind since I told him what happened. The moment I reached out, he responded with sympathy, saying I didn't deserve to be kicked out like that. He even offered his place if I needed somewhere to stay. Tonight I'm meeting up with him, partly because I need comfort, someone to hold me gently after being discarded so coldly. Despite all that's happened, a part of me is still clinging to hope. I wish I could somehow repair things with my boyfriend, but I'm completely lost on how to even begin. Now there's the added weight of finances. I've been browsing listings for studio apartments, but even the bare-bones ones push my budget past the limit. I had a small cushion saved from when things were stable, but it won't stretch far. If I want to stand on my own, I'll need to sell my car and trade it in for something smaller and cheaper. The sense of loss hits me in unpredictable waves. It's like being yanked out of my adult life and dropped back into the chaos of my early 20s, broke, uncertain, and starting over from scratch. Today delivered the hardest blow yet. After days of silence, he finally texted me just a single line. There's nothing left to fix. While I'd been out to dinner with friends, he had gone through my laptop. He cracked into my hidden photo folder using the same password I'd carelessly reused for everything. And there it was, a photo I thought was gone forever. Me lying in a hotel bed, barely clothed, smiling at the camera while my boss held me from behind. I hadn't even realized it had been backed up. I thought I deleted every last piece of evidence. I stared at that message for 10 straight minutes, frozen. Then I started texting, pleading with him to meet, to at least let me explain. But he never replied, not once. He didn't yell, he didn't accuse. He just vanished from my life like I never mattered. He blocked me on everything, phone, social media, all of it. He even told our mutual friends not to tell him if they saw me around. As far as he's concerned, it's over. He's rewriting the story of our relationship without me, and I'm powerless to stop it. I miss him, not just as a boyfriend but as my closest companion. I miss the routines, how he'd bring me coffee on Sunday mornings, how he'd sing terribly in the car just to make me laugh. The tiny silly habits that made our life feel like a shared rhythm. The grief sits in my chest like something physical, like a piece of me was cut away. Last night I met with my boss. We talked about the future, what little future there might be. I gently brought up the idea of where things were headed, but his demeanor shifted. He told me he valued what we had, that he cared about me, but he couldn't do that to his kids. He said he needed more time. I wanted to scream, to tell him not to keep stringing me along. But instead I nodded, smiled, and said I understood. I'm not naive. I know if I push too hard, he'll disappear too. I've already seen the way the women at the office look at him. I'm aware there are others who would take my place in a heartbeat. And right now, I can't handle another abandonment. Next week he's flying out for a business conference in Miami, and he asked me to come with him. Said yes. I'm not even sure why. Maybe part of me still believes that being away from the chaos will make him realize how much I mean to him. Or maybe I'm just telling myself that. Lying to myself to stay afloat. I'm still staying in my friend's spare room, but it's becoming obvious I can't stay much longer. She's been generous and patient, but it's not a permanent fix. Just yesterday, I visited a tiny studio for rent. The place smelled like mold, the walls were stained, and stepping inside made my stomach sink. Still, I filled out the application. It's the only thing I can afford right now. My entire life unraveled in what felt like an instant. A year ago, I was full of excitement and belief in my future. Now I've lost my home, my relationship, and any sense of stability. Looking back, it doesn't feel like any of this was worth it. For the first time, I feel a kind of regret that goes beyond guilt, something deeper, something I can't just shake off. I realize I could have stopped the spiral at so many points, but I didn't. And now I'm living out of bags, clinging to texts from a man who still goes home to his family, while I have nowhere to belong. It's not worth it. Never was.